Hi there, Dr. Rajeev Iyer here from IMG Secrets, coming with the experience of coaching hundreds of international medical graduates like you. In this video, I'm going to give my opinion as to what is the best country for you to immigrate as an international medical graduate doctor. This is based on the questions we receive about 4 countries: USA, Canada, Australia, and UK. Let's do this together. In my opinion, the last on the list is UK. Do leave in the comments below if you agree with my opinion or not. I would love to hear your thoughts about this. Now, I say the last is UK because getting into the UK is fairly straightforward. You get a GMC registration, you finish PLAB, you move through steps of being a house officer, registrar, and finally you spend about 7 to 8 years to get a CCT or certificate of completed training. All this is fantastic. Once you have this, transition into other countries like Canada, USA, Australia also becomes much easier. However, what we have seen is once people become established in UK, their frustration level is quite significantly high. This is because the growth IMGs have in UK is quite limited. Plus, the pay has a cap in UK as compared to other countries. So for these reasons, UK in the long term tends to be very less popular for international medical graduate doctors. In fact, we get quite a few IMGs from UK who want to transition to other countries, and we have been fortunate to help these IMGs to make that move. Next on the list is probably a tie between Canada and Australia. Now in Australia, the process is pretty much similar to the UK. You are expected to complete Australian medical examinations, move up the ladder. Finally, after taking the requisite exams, you become a fellow. In other words, when people say you become a fellow of the Royal College of Australia, which means you're now considered a specialist who has had training, which now means you're considered a specialist in Australia. We do have an Australian expert, and if you're interested to know more about Australia, you can always book an appointment with her and discuss all your options from there. The next country, which in my opinion is a tie with Australia, is Canada. The process in Canada is a hybrid between the UK and the US. Essentially, Canada for the most part follows the US. So the process is going to be exactly similar to the US, which means if you're thinking of immigrating as a resident, you actually become a permanent resident or a Canadian citizen, complete all the requisite exams, and then apply to CaRMS matching. Now, this is conceptually similar to what is happening in the US, except that in the US, you don't need to be a permanent resident or a citizen of the US. On the other hand, if you're applying for a fellowship or directly as an attending physician position in Canada, you do not have to go through this pathways. Now, to me, Canada ranks number 2 along with Australia is mainly because the opportunities in Canada is quite limited. The amount of growth one can happen in their career also is quite limited. The pro is once you're certified in Canada, transition to other countries becomes much easier. However, because of the growth career restrictions and Canada not being as IMG friendly, of course, there are a lot of immigrants, a lot of IMGs, but I would still say it's not as IMG friendly as the US. And for those reasons, I rank Canada as number 2. Now, if I have to decide between Australia and Canada, this comes to a personal choice. I have lived in Canada, I have worked in Canada, so I completely understand the Canadian system. I have visited Australia, fantastic country. Whether you pick Australia or Canada, I think you would still be okay. But if your goal is to eventually transition into the USA, then you're probably better off with Canada than Australia.